Hey, Robin, pretty good answer here. But the only bone I have to pick is that we actually ask that you quote, like literally quote the text. We give you this literature, between the lecture and the text because one, it's really good stuff, and two, it's true, unlike a lot of things you might find on the web. So I can tell that your answer's correct. It's thorough enough, and you're referencing these things. But we actually really need you to embed a quote from the text in your answer. We do not test people in this class, and so what we do instead to make sure that folks are reading and comprehending is ask for very specific citations. And it's fine to do exactly what you did with the lecture. Just tell us the week and the section of the lecture where you are pulling your information. But with the textbook, we just want you to quote it. Just throw it, just cut and paste and throw it in there. So that's it. That's my only bone to pick from you. But like I said, I can tell that you're pulling from both sources. I just need just a little bit more from the text. And then my only other thing in regard to the correctness of your answer is it would be here somewhere in the middle. You say, to compensate for lack of light in this situation, of course, you would turn off the flash because it's going to be useless because of the inverse square law, which you know. But you say that with your DSLR camera, you would set the aperture to a small opening, and then you would choose a shutter speed to fit that particular situation. And then you would deal with the white balance. And so my feeling here is that you might just be using strange language to describe your aperture, because a small opening would be a setting like f16 or 22, and a small opening, of course, means not very much light, which means less exposure. And in this situation, we want to make sure that we've got lots of exposure, right? So you're probably going to use a pretty wide open aperture, maybe like f5.6, f4, f2.8, something like that. Because at such a distance, you'll remember that you have if your fine focus, if your area of fine focus, whatever it is that you're focusing on with your focus ring, is far away, your depth of field is going to be greater. The further away your subject matter is, the greater your depth of field is, even with a wide open aperture. That would normally, at a closer distance, a wide open aperture will give you a narrow depth of field. But at distances far away, you're going to get pretty deep depth of field. So you can open that guy all the way up. And then you talk about white balance, which to me is secondary or tertiary to the problem of making sure that you have enough exposure. I mean, yeah, of course you want to deal with white balance, but really your first problem is to get enough light onto your sensor, and you're going to do this through your shutter, through your ISO, and through your aperture. I have a tendency to use my aperture to get my extra light. I'm shaky, and so I can't shoot at shutter speeds much slower than 1/125th of a second without shake. And then my camera, I don't think, performs well at ISO 640 or higher. I just think it's too grainy, personally. And so I really spend a lot of money on good lenses with wide open apertures. That's what I do. Okay, so that's it. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that there. Okay, thank you, Robin.